Hope you had a nice Thanksgiving, and thank you for joining us on Rebound Detroit, proudly presented by Oasis Mediterranean Cuisine, located on 12 Mile Road, Warren City, Michigan. Today, through this episode, we are going to express our tribute to Dr. Maya Angelou, one of the renowned artists in the history of the United States. And this is going to be the first talk show where we are going to have an artist-to-artist talk show. Since I am an author, and we are humbled to have with us Mahogany Jones, the US Music Ambassador, who has showcased Detroit's talent in various parts of the world. Thanks for joining us, Mahogany.
Thank you so much for having me.
And welcome to Rebound Detroit.
Great to be here.
Detroit has always been a historical city for creative people, and you have seen that it has showcased its various portfolio at different avenues.
Definitely.
So let us discover Detroit, the hustle city.
I know that for me, I'm initially, honestly, a native New Yorker, and I've been in Detroit. This winter will make it, or January, will make it 15 years. And I've always just been drawn to Detroit in particular because of its soul. I think the same grit and the same industry type of grind that's here, that same blue collar drive shows up in what happens musically. Also, I think the same level of innovation. You know, we know that Detroit is like the home for techno, of course Motown, and so many different genres of music. And it's a certain level of realness that's here. So I know when I started working on my project, I'm a hip hop soul artist. And at the time when I started working on it, it wasn't really a thing. I remember my producer back home being like, you want to mix neo soul and hip hop? Who's doing that? And it wasn't until I found a producer who lived here in Detroit that I was like, oh no, this is a thing. So you think about your Jay Dillas and just different producers here that have that sound, that warmth. And honestly, that's what drew me to the city and to want to create and make music here.
Okay. And what is your opinion on Detroit's musical history, since it has been a historical town for different kinds of subjects, automotive, music, entrepreneurship, healthcare?
I just am inspired by the level of innovation that is here, and just how real the music sounds and feels from Detroit, and a scope of so many genres, especially, you think about the Winans, or you think about so many gospel artists that got their start and their roots here. You think about, definitely want to pay homage to Aretha Franklin, who recently just passed as well. You think about Motown, you think about people who have ventured here and just gave voice to that same grit. Of course, we couldn't talk about, the history without talking about a Kid Rock or Eminem. You think about recently, I'm excited to see its evolution. Rock bands like Greta Van, I'm
not a music person, so.
But it's, it's a bubble, and it's really great for Jack White. It's just, this city's history for music is so rich, and I just think that we're just going to continue to take stake and take claim in the musical industry, because our sound is very much it's people. It's real, it's raw, it's genuine, it's full of energy, and I think it's just going to continue to just grow.
And which key aspects of music, according to you, can help Detroit in its rebound, Mahogany?
Definitely singer-songwriters. I think what helps people really relate or connect to a place are its musicians. You think about New York, you think about the West Coast, and automatically, I'm sure it's at least 10 artists that will come to your mind. And I think the same thing for Detroit, and you're slowly starting to see that happen here. So again, singers, songwriters, musicians, it's so funny. Most people that I know who are on the road heavy, there's at least one person from Detroit who's playing in their band, because the level of musicianship here is crazy. It's the janitor sings. It's very musical here, and people know that if you really want serious musicians, you get them from Detroit, like hands down. So yeah, I just think all across the board that musicians as a whole will have a great deal to do with like Detroit's rebirth or regenesis, however you want to say it. But also, we really need industry. I think that is one of the biggest things that is problematic, and I'll speak for myself as a musician here in Detroit,
Right.
that there's very little industry here. And so I think it'll be great to see promoters begin to take stock and see different concert venues. And I think as downtown begins to expand, I'm hoping that more promoters and more people from different industries will begin to take stock and interest. Places like Assembly Sound, developing new talent and finding this way to kind of bridge people who are like established in the industry with new talent that's raw and kind of like still undiscovered. I think things like that are a great gateway and will really help. So yeah, overall, I think it's going to definitely be like the artists and the musicians, but we truly need those who have their hands in the industry to really build industry in Detroit. So it could be something where Detroiters don't have to necessarily leave in order to do well as artists and musicians, but where we can be here and we can thrive and we can cultivate not only our talent, but like opportunities, like fiscal opportunities so that we can do well. And it's great because when you think about opportunities like Kresge or different philanthropists that understand that arts really speak to and help cities grow. The first thing that happens when people want to revitalize cities is what do? They pump into they build up the eateries,
Sure.
and they pump into the arts because the arts bring culture. The arts help define a space and help define what's going to be said about that, and it's of course it's not just music, it's visual arts, it's all the arts, but we'll play a great role in the city's revitalization.
And I also agree with you, Mahaguni, because I've seen that any type of ecosystem can foster the growth of any particular aspect of a city or state. For example, there's new ecosystem called Internet of Things. So if all the technologies from the Internet of Things are deployed in any kind of city, it can really foster the growth of the city. Of course, it's not related to music, but it's kind of different upcoming technology. And if we have ecosystems like this for particular technologies, for particular arts, and that's when my next question comes. How can the art community from Detroit help in globalizing the music produced here in Detroit?
I think just kind of like what we spoke to, I'm not the only like the musical ambassador. There are many cultural ambassadors who are exporting, music. Honestly, culture is one of the greatest exports that America does have to offer, honestly. And music is one of the strongest. So I just feel us continuing to make and create great music and making it available globally through tools, thank God for the internet, such a great platform, and through collaborating with, our other brothers and sisters all across the globe. I think that helps kind of plant and spread seeds, and it helps to generate, interest and draw people to the city. So I think just that, us continuing to be who we are and not being afraid to venture outside of the city. I think a lot of times we can just stay in this little bubble. So us venturing to other cities and making our presence known and continuing to represent our sound and cultivating our sound is crucial.
And do you have any cities in mind which you can see if they collaborate with Detroit, can help Detroit in forming this musical ecosystem?
You know what? I feel like, cities and countries, I feel like France, high five to France, but France has a really strong tie to Detroit and interest in Detroit. And really, for some reason, I meet a lot of people who come here from different, cities in France, and they really get it. They love it. So I think more overseas collaborations, and I think collaborations with populations or ethnicities of people from different places. So I feel like that's really important, that those different people groups that live in the city, that, they continue to create this bridge of collaboration and creation. I think that is going to help expand our sound. And your Seattles, your New Yorks, your Chicagos, and maybe even making more ties and connections with other Midwest cities that kind of sometimes get like overlooked, like your Ohio's or.
We can go on that.
Yeah. So
definitely.
Us just continuing to do what we do with music, as musicians. Music is a universal language, and I think when you're open and you're open-minded and you're willing to kind of blend genres and vibe and create, that just happens naturally.
And what's about your new album? We would like to know about your new album, which you're going to release soon.
So I have new music coming, and I'm grateful to have been collaborating with some Detroit artists. So one who actually is a professor at Utah, his name is Chris Johnson. He's a trumpeter and also a fellow Kresge Fellow. So we're working on some music together. So it's a jazz fused hip hop project. I'm excited about that. And just working with my long-term partner, Ron Lee, on new music. My new album will be called Charisse. And my latest release, which was Sugar Water, is out and available on all digital outlets. So listen, this is what I need you guys to do. This is what it looks like, and I need you to go to anywhere that you do. You might be a Spotify person. You might be an iTunes kind of person. I get it. Whatever floats your boat. But check out Sugar Water. It's beautiful. It is an ode to Detroit soul, and it's pretty dope. So check it out. All right. And check me out. Hit me up. www.mahoganyjones.com. And that's MAHOGANYJONES.com. And I love Instagram, so you can follow me and I'll follow back. So,
And thank you for sharing your important opinion with us, Mahogany.
Thank you so much. It was a great time being here with you. So
thank you very much, and looking forward to make Detroit a great musical town for the future, looking at its history, and we can continue this history on. And thank you for joining us in 2018, and please stay tuned for new episodes in 2019. Until then, have a nice Christmas and a very happy New Year 2019. Thank you.